In the sands of time, few figures shine as brightly and controversially as Akhenaton, the pharaoh who dared to reshape not just his kingdom, but the very essence of belief. Known as the Heretic King, he was a dreamer, an innovator, and perhaps history's first monotheist. His revolutionary vision centered on Aten, the life-giving sun disk, and it would forever alter Egypt's spiritual and political landscape. Who was Akhenaton? Born as Amenhotep IV around 1353 BCE, Akhenaton ascended to the throne during Egypt's 18th dynasty, a period marked by immense wealth and power. Early in his reign, he followed Egypt's traditional polytheistic practices. However, in the 5th year of his rule, he made a radical decision. He abandoned his birth name, meaning Amun is pleased, and adopted the name Akhenaton, or effective for Aten, reflecting his devotion to a single deity, Aten, the sun disk. Akhenaton's most ambitious act was founding a new capital city, Akhetaton, meaning Horizon of Aten. Located in modern-day Amarna, this city was designed as a physical manifestation of his spiritual revolution. Grand temples dedicated to Aten were left open to sunlight, symbolizing divine light, while palaces and homes displayed vivid depictions of daily life. This artistic shift broke from traditional Egyptian art by emphasizing realism and intimacy. For example, Akhenaton and his queen Nefertiti were often depicted in family scenes with their daughters, a stark contrast to the idealized portrayals of previous pharaohs. The visionary ideas of Akhenaton. Akhenaton's religious reform was unprecedented. He declared Aten as the sole creator and sustainer of life, a universal force beyond human or animal form. Unlike other gods with elaborate myths and statues, Aten was intangible, represented only by the sun disk whose rays ended in hands holding ankhs, the Egyptian symbol of life. In his great hymn to Aten, one of history's earliest monotheistic texts, Akhenaton described Aten as, "O sole god like whom there is no other. Thou didst create the world according to thy desire, all men, cattle, and wild beasts, whatever is on earth and what is on high." But such revolutionary ideas came at a cost. By closing temples dedicated to other gods, especially Amun, Akhenaton alienated powerful priesthoods and disrupted Egypt's traditional social order. His focus on religion led him to neglect military and economic affairs, weakening Egypt's empire. After his death in 1336 BCE, his successors erased nearly all traces of his reign. The city of Akhetaton was abandoned, its stones repurposed for other projects, Aten versus the traditional Egyptian gods. To understand why Akhenaton's vision was so radical, we must first explore Egypt's traditional pantheon. For centuries, Egyptians worshipped a multitude of gods. Amun-Ra was king of the gods and associated with creation. Osiris ruled over death and rebirth, Isis embodied motherhood, Horus symbolized kingship, and Hapi controlled the Nile's inundation that sustained agriculture. These gods were deeply embedded in every aspect of Egyptian life, from politics to agriculture, and their worship maintained Mayat, or cosmic order. Temples dedicated to these deities were not just places of worship, but centers of economic power controlled by priests. Aten stood apart from this pantheon. Unlike Amun-Ra or Osiris, Aten had no myths or family lineage. He was an abstract force, the sun itself, providing light and sustenance to all creation. For Akhenaton, this universality made Aten supreme. However, this idea clashed with Egypt's polytheistic traditions, where each god served specific roles. By banning the worship of other gods and centralizing power under Aten's cult, with himself as its sole intermediary, Akhenaton disrupted centuries-old traditions. To many Egyptians, this was not just heretical but dangerous. It threatened Ma'at itself. The Amarna Letters, diplomacy amidst revolution. Amidst this religious upheaval came another remarkable legacy, the Amarna Letters. Discovered in 1887 among the ruins of Akhetaton, these clay tablets offer a glimpse into 14th century BCE diplomacy. Written in Akkadian cuneiform, the lingua franca of the ancient Near East, They document correspondence between Egypt and its allies or vassal states like Babylon, Assyria, Mitanni, and Jerusalem. The letters reveal how Egypt maintained its influence through strategic marriages and military support, while navigating rivalries among emerging powers like Assyria and Hatti. Despite Akhenaton's focus on religion at home, these letters show that Egypt remained a dominant force abroad during his reign. 5 quotes by Akhenaton. 1. To be satisfied with a little is the greatest wisdom, and he that increaseth his riches increaseth his cares, but a contented mind is a hidden treasure, and trouble findeth it not. A reminder that simplicity brings peace while excessive wealth often leads to worry. 2. Be thou incapable of change in that which is right, and men will rely upon thee. Establish unto thyself principles of action, and see that thou ever act according to them. First know that thy principles are just, and then be thou. A call for integrity. Remain steadfast in justice so others can trust you. 3. Honor is the inner garment of the soul, the first thing put on by it with the flesh, and the last it layeth down at its separation from it. Honor defines us from birth to death, a timeless virtue tied to our essence. 4. As a rock on the seashore he standeth firm, and the dashing of the waves disturbeth him not. He raiseth his head like a tower on a hill, and the arrows of fortune drop at his feet. In the instant of danger, the courage of his heart sustaineth him, and the steadiness of his mind beareth him out. A metaphor for resilience. Remain unshaken by adversity with courage as your anchor. 5. Those who gave thee a body furnished it with weakness, but he who gave thee soul armed thee with resolution. Employ it, and thou art wise. Be wise, and thou art happy. Strength lies not in our fragile bodies, but in our resolute souls. Akhenaton's vision burned brightly but briefly, a fleeting revolution erased by time yet remembered for its audacity. His devotion to Aten challenged tradition while inspiring future generations to question divine plurality. Akhenaton reminds us that even when ideas fail in their time, they can sow seeds for eternal reflection. If you enjoyed this video, please like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Eternal Philosophies. Until next time.